and I promise next time I watch the episode. It's my job, so I feel bad that I couldn't do it. That's the honest. Like, I do feel shitty that I couldn't give you my proper take on it because this is what we do and this is what we want to do, and it's pretty shitty. But at the same time, the hurdles I had to jump through, man, I felt like the lion at the circus.
So, Tomye, what do you feel about the painful process of sourcing files to watch a TV show?
Don't even get me started this early on, ALANNIS. I know you're poking the fire, and I'm not happy about it, yeah? Let's just say, you watch The Last of Us in Australia, you need another streaming service. Like, no Paramount, no HBO, no a complete different streaming service. And you know what? I simply refuse from now on. So
we are going to go down the... We'll explain more and also go down the rabbit hole. The Last of Us, episode 3.
Intro, and action!
Welcome to Televerse Reviews. I am your host, ALANNIS MAXIMUS, and this is my co-host with the most, or co-most, Tomye. How are you going, Tomye?
Yeah, all right, except for the 3 hours I spent trying to fucking watch The Last of Us.
That's all good. I should be able to walk you through this one. But the funniest part, we're sitting there for a good hour and a half going, oh, what can we do to make this easier in future? And it only just dawned on me then, I can give you my binge password.
Dude, I refuse to jump through all these hurdles of downloading this show. I refuse to get binge. I refuse to get any more streaming services because I have so many streaming services. I could be paying for Foxtel, a satellite dish, SpaceX, and probably own McDonald's as well. Like, it's just fucked, man. You know what I mean? Like, streaming services were supposed to be like the cheaper option. And like, get a streaming service, you know, one streaming service and you're fucking all right. Yeah, except for when those streaming services are all filled with shit. You know what I mean? So, continue.
Yes. So this episode was an interesting one. I didn't know Dick. I haven't played the game, so I didn't know anything about these characters. I've seen it played on Twitch, whatever. Well, I've got it right behind me right now. It doesn't grab me as something I would pay. Well, for me to play it, I would pay $75 on PC right now to play a game that was made in 2013, which... this episode was based on a character you meet in the game, Bill. And he's in the game. It's not really.
Is it a different interpretation on the Bill character?
Same interpretation, but different story. And in the game, I believe it was only very slightly implied that his partner was a sexual thing.
You know what? Look, before we keep going, I'm just going to say it straight out. I was going to just bluff my way through this episode because literally I ran out of time trying to get this episode to work. So you know what? I'm going to let ALANNIS just basically tell us how the episode went. And this will be my spin on it, ALANNIS. Anything you tell me, I'll tell you if it resembles anything in the game or anything I can pick up because I'll be back for next week ready to watch it. Hopefully, if ALANNIS gives me his binge password, because binge, I ain't binging nothing. So,
it's they're in this episode they've changed it all. I guess elaborated a lot. Almost the whole episode was based on Bill and Frank and their romance and relationship with each other, and it was a long episode, an hour and 15 minutes, and I get for people that are more into sentiment and feels and that, then I guess it set out to do it well. It was that kind of opportunity to show lives well lived, even though the world's gone to shit. Meh. But I'm not a romance feels kind of guy when I'm watching a show like this. I'm watching it for guns, dying, and zombies. I'm watching it from a horror point of view. I didn't need to watch an hour and 15-minute episode. Like, it wasn't bad, but it didn't speak to me as the first 2 episodes did. And basically, it just follows the story of how they met, how they kind of create and make safe their home, how they meet Joel and Tess. And in the game, I believe you find Frank's hung himself because he got bit. In this, Frank has a disease. They didn't define it, but I'm guessing it's something like maybe ALS or MS. He's in a wheelchair and dying. So they couldn't cure this when the world was going. They can't cure it now. So they both commit suicide by ingesting some drug and die in bed together.
Sounds uplifting, bro.
Yeah. It's it was as I said, if you're into the feels and what it was setting out to do, then it was probably a really good episode. But it's just not. I'm not in that demographic. I don't just like anything it was trying to do. It just wasn't for me and what I want out of the show. I didn't need an hour and 15 minutes of character building for a couple of characters that are just going to really be there that episode.
Look, man, I don't get why they're doing this whole 80-minute episode bullshit. Like last week's one paced better. Last week's one obviously was less fucking motorbike. Last week's was paced better from the sounds of it. And even the first one, me and you, we felt like there was a sort of dip in the middle of it where it was like kind of dragging on a little bit until it picked up again. I just feel that hour and a half is too long for this show. I think an hour each episode is smack bang perfect.
Pretty much, yeah. The episode could have been
a little more just to leave it on a cliffhanger or whatever. Like another 10 minutes is okay, but when you're pushing into like, you know, the hour and a half territory where it's like a fucking movie, you know, like that's where it becomes like sort of like, especially if you're not a fan of the game and you're not really into the franchise itself, but you do like the show, like you don't want it to drag too long, you know?
That's it. That's exactly. And I feel the episode could have been about 15 minutes shorter. They could have cut out a little bit of the development between Bill and Frank because they're not integral roles. It still could have put its point across very well by cutting a little bit out, like at least 10 minutes. And I feel I'd have gotten a little bit more out of it. When I got to the hour mark, I was looking at my watch going, still 15 minutes to go. And the second something does that to me, it's like the Batman. The second I kind of get that, then it breaks the immersion. It breaks me really wanting to watch it. I'm distracted. And I feel because that happened, it didn't feel as good, I think, for me. I can see why other people would like it, but it's not why I'm watching the show.
I'm going to come out and just say it straight up. This show is good. This show is great. This show is doing a great job of making a video game adapted property into something that's respectable, something that will draw people in, and something that will help older people or people that aren't into video games maybe understand why we do play video games or whatever. And it's working also because since the show, The Last of Us Part 1 sales are up 150%. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about after our chat last week. We're thinking it's going to end where the first game ends with this season. Yeah. Now, again, if you haven't played the games, if you don't want spoilers for the TV show because it's following the games, and you don't know the story, tune out for, I don't know, I'm going to make a sign. I'm going to do this when it starts, and I'm going to do this when it ends, or some bullshit. Look for the second sign, and fucking you'll know it's right to listen to it again. So mute it now. I'm giving you a couple of seconds. Now, hear me out. What if it doesn't end at the end of the first game? It continues over through to the second game, to when Joel bites the dust.
I think
the second season has Ali coming to terms with that and getting her revenge?
I think if they're, I think they're playing 8 episodes.
Mhm.
If they're doing what they did this episode, where they've got a whole episode dedicated to the background, yeah. I'm almost feeling it's going to go the opposite way, and it may end before the game ends.
Dude, do you know how much cooler that would be to end on that cliffhanger of like, what the fuck? The main character just died? You know what I mean? But that doesn't happen for like, an hour and a half into the second game. So I think that would be a dope spot to end the first season, but that's not what's going to happen. So this show's going to be dragged out as much as possible. And you know what? I think at the end of the day, with second season dragging it out and stuff like that, I think that's what's going to hurt it at the end, is them trying to milk it. I think that this shows that the first initial thing was to like, let's show everyone what this is about. Let's make a great show. Let's see what people think. Let's go from there. And then they've seen the success. They've gone, wow, we want this to run a while. We have 2 games, so it's 2 stories. What do we do if we run out of material? Well, the easiest thing to do there is to stretch out the already made material that you have there into whatever you can. And that, I think, could be with the downfall of what happens with this show. It's like The Walking Dead. By the end of The Walking Dead, everyone was sick of it. They were over it. Like the last season, everyone was like, I don't care about this anymore. And it was because it was dragged out. Because it was doing well. And people have got to realize that just because the show is doing well and you want the numbers and you want the show to continue and all that, sometimes it isn't the best option for the show to continue. And I'm going to come straight out and say it. The Workaholics guys ended the show themselves. They wanted to go out on a high note. And you know what? I feel they didn't. I feel they should have ended it a season before, because I don't think the last season of Workaholics was very strong. You know what I mean? So it's like, even shows, I'm not trying to rip on this show. Like, I'm a PlayStation guy. Why the fuck would I rip on The Last of Us unless I felt like it? And I'm not even ripping on it. I'm just saying I have concerns about the length they're going to stretch it out to, and if that's going to affect the overall product at the end of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
So, like, what else happened in this episode that was noteworthy? Did, like, Joel get his dick sucked, or did Ali, like...
That was all... That was the crux of the episode. It was basically mainly centered on Bill and Frank.
Joel get his dick sucked.
very, very little bit at the start where...
That was the crux of the episode. Just Joel getting his dick smashed out, you know what I mean? Like, it was stretched out for fucking another 30 minutes because we needed to get like a really, really long gobby in it, you know what I mean?
There's a bit at the start where it flashed back and explained how the virus happened, which was through contaminated food.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we already had that answer at the start, which was that when
the
planet heats up, blah, 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 blah. Like, how many times are we going to flash back to find out what's going on with this virus?
They explained kind of the military were killing civilians when they couldn't get into QZs, which once again I think they already said. And in the end, they're pretty much heading. Joel and Ellie are heading to Iowa to find his brother, Tommy, I think.
Yeah,
Tommy. And that's pretty much where it ended. So it was it felt like a filler episode.
So how are you feeling about the series so far? Is it dipping in, like, how much you like it? Is it staying the same? What?
I'm going to say I'm still liking it. I think everything has, like, a filler episode here and there, especially HBO. So I'm hoping it picks itself up again in the next episode or two. I feel we're going to get to a bit more of an exciting point. We're going to have kind of more events happening. And I, like, as I said, I get why they tried to put that sentiment and that romance and that what they were trying to do, but it's not why I'm watching the show, I think. So a lot of other people might have loved it.
You know what I think about this? The fact that we're getting this fucking highly regarded, like, nearly probably going to win an Emmy award or not an Emmy. What are they called for the TV? They're not Emmys, are they? They're Golden Globe.
I think so.
I don't fucking know. One of those shows where fucking celebrities get given a trophy and they think they're all fucking good and everything. You know what I mean? Why did Uncharted get the movie treatment with the weirdest cast choicing choices possible? Like, man, why is Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg playing Sully? But Mark Wahlberg looks more like Nathan Drake than Tom Holland. Like, that's just fucking what a puzzle. You know what I mean?
Although Tom Holland would look more like Ellie than Bella Ramsey.
True. Can you imagine? Happy. Happy, can you get my suit? Look, I have high hopes for this show to keep going. I hope everyone loves it. It's just a shame that I'm not the biggest Last of Us fan, because while I'm a PlayStation guy, while I love Naughty Dog, while I love Uncharted, while I love Infamous, while I love Spider-Man, while I love fucking Detroit Become Human, while I love every fucking PlayStation exclusive, God of War, like all these sick games, like Horizon, like, and then you get to The Last of Us, and I think it was fine. It was good. I think at the time when it came out, it was fucking amazing, but that's been 10 years, and I am kind of over the whole. Have you played The Last of Us? Have you seen The Last of Us? Did you know they're making a Last of Us TV show? Did you hear what Naughty Dog are doing? They're making another Last of Us. Come on, man. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like we're getting oversaturated with it now.
Yes.
Especially now that they just admitted that there's another game coming out and it's an online one, and that they said that as for a single campaign story of a part 3, they will do it if they find a story that works well and works under their sort of like message. And apparently the message to this is love. Did you get that? Do you get that from The Last of Us?
No.
I get the understanding of he loves Ellie like his own daughter, and they build that relationship, and she loves him like it's her dad. But apart from that, it's them trying to survive the zombie apocalypse while she has the cure inside her or whatever, and he's trying to get her to the Fireflies, or, you know, that love. That's like going, you know what? We feel we'll make another Grand Theft Auto game when we think it's got enough uh, 2D platforming in it. Or like, you know, fucking Clay Fighter. You remember Clay Fighter?
Yep.
Terrible game.
Oh yes.
Oh, man.
Anyway, on that note, I think now's a good time to roll along with the score, which might be hard for yourself, but I'll give this probably a 35. It didn't grab me as much as the last episode.
It's not too hard for me, because you told me it was a filler episode. You told me it was about. You told me that not much happened, as in like what you were looking for, which is probably most likely what I would have been looking for in the show, and it was just a lot of talking and character development about characters I'm very aware of and already understand. Then I'm going to go around roughly where you are, but a little bit lower. I'm going to go with 29, bro.
Yep, there we go. So 35 and 29 is 50, 64, I think.
That's quite a drop.
Yes. Yeah.
That's quite a drop from last week's, I think, and the week before.
Yeah, we were 80s for the last two. So, yeah.
Well, look, I'm sure this show is great. I'm sure it's going to keep being great. let's just hope it doesn't do that whole thing where, like, I think it was season 2 of The Walking Dead where everyone was like hating on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was that? Am I right with that? Because I don't remember I didn't watch The Walking Dead.
I think it's about season 3 or 4 it really took its turn. They've got a couple of seasons out before everyone. This is shit.
And was that Fear of the Walking Dead like any good at all?
I haven't watched it. I kind of went, one is enough, and I haven't watched anymore.
Fair enough. I respect that. A man sticking to what he knows he wants to watch, you know?
Yeah.
Rather than being like, what's this Last of Us show? Oh, I'll check it out. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know why I don't like The Last of Us. I can't like the game. I can't. It's not that I don't like it. As I said, I had my experience with it once, and I'm happy with that. And I don't feel the need to go back and play it. It hasn't been like an Uncharted to me where I've wanted to go back and play it again because it just speaks to me more. I think it's to do with the whole. It's kind of like Indiana Jones, which is like my favorite movie franchise ever. It's kind of like more actiony, adventure-y, more fun, more lighthearted, without finding treasure, which I'm all about. And The Last of Us is depressing, zombies, and meh. I don't know. As I said, it's overrated. It's overrated in my opinion. But all you that love it out there, go for gold.
Yeah.
ALANNIS.
Yes.
Now that we've scored that, how about you tell everyone what is coming up for us on Loud Media?
Coming up, most immediately is we are scoring and reviewing Viva La Bam. That's going to be starting this week. We've still got in the pipeline the old Ranked and Reviewed Goes to Hell. The vision is coming together. It will be at this hopefully soon.
March.
Yeah, I think those are the most immediate things.
Well, you might want to explain how Viva La Bam is getting reviewed and rolled out, though. That's one thing.
Yes. Rather than, because it's a few more seasons, they're short episodes, we're not going to do it episode by episode. We're doing season by season, like what we did with that 90s show. Obviously, there's more seasons, more to flesh out there. So we're going to be scoring and reviewing season by season over the next 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
And, dude, I'm telling you, there is going to be some parts in this series that you're going to love because War are in it.
Good old War.
Slayer. The Bloodhound Gang. Who else? Sean Penn with his kid, Johnny Knoxville. The Dudesons. Dude, like this show spreads and it goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm telling you, I know I've already got sort of your basic idea of the first season so far. Have you made it to the last episode of that first season yet?
Not yet. That is going to be on the cards for tonight or tomorrow morning.
Talk to me after that one then, because that episode is the shining one out of the whole season. And then I think from season 2 onwards, I think you're going to really like it because I want you to remember something. You were saying that you think Bam's a bit of a cocky asshole and all that, right? You have to remember that when he made these shows, he was 24, 25. When you had that much money at 25, that much spotlight on you, you're kind of playing this character like Bam is like with his mates trying to play this sort of like Bam character. You know what I mean? It's not like that's him, you know? And it's like all the others, like Chris Rabb, Brian Dunn, like, dude, I don't think Bam is the way he sort of makes him out to be. I think he's just trying to be entertaining and sort of like showy. And I'd be the same at his age with that much money, with my own show, with all my dude friends around me getting wasted and blottoed and on drugs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I want you to look at it from like the perspective of what they do in the show, each episode, who's in the episodes, the funny parts that don't involve Bam if you don't like Bam, and come to me with the score surrounding that rather than just the idea of like, it's called Viva La Bam. I don't like Bam, So I don't like the show. I don't even care about. Dude, Bam's alright, isn't it? Bam's cool, but like most of the main cool parts are like everyone else, you know. So,
Yeah.
And Don Vito, bro. Like, have you met Don Vito yet in the show?
Yes, yes.
Oh god, man. Like, I know, he's a sicko. I know he did some horrible things while he was alive. Yes, he was a perv. He was a fucking plague. But he's dead now, which, you know, unfortunate for people related to him and whatever, and people that cared about him. Not so unfortunate for people that think he's a piece of shit or whatever. But come on. The moments with Don Vito in that show and how they write subtitles, and the subtitles are not even written correctly. They're just mumbo jumbo. Like, all of that was Bam's idea. Like, he edited a lot of it, I think. So he was just like putting in like, I want to get my pen, like just like fucking, dude. Don Vito makes that show. You're a fucking asshole, Bam. All right, cool, man.
Cool.
This one and put it in the fucking can.
Yes. Well, we will see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. I've been ALANNIS Maximus, my co-host TOMYE. Peace out, children.
Children? No, fuck you, children. Ghosts exist! Monsters live under your bed!